Yeah, no, yeah.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the second episode of the Recome Back of Sister Hold My Hand. And in the previous episode, we had a really great time. We really are looking at an episode surrounding sexual, identity, sexual love after love making and intimacy after trauma. And so in the first episode, we really looked at what does that mean for us? How does that make us feel? And we try to keep these episodes really short and tight. And so today I have my friend and co host Audrey Joseph with me, and we're going to continue with looking at self identity, body, and sexuality. Because the truth of the matter is, Audrey, that so many things happen when we go through sexual trauma around sexuality. Welcome back to the conversation.
Thank you. Greetings, greetings, greetings.
Audrey, in the last episode, you shared so much. You talked about how you can shut down when a man, and in this instance, a man for you, but in other person's instance, it could be a man and a man, it could be a woman and a man, whatever people's preferences are. It's neither here nor there on this episode. But you said you can shut down if this happens. And I actually share that same conversation, that same thought. I want to talk about our self identity in this episode and our bodies and our sexuality. And I think I want to throw the question out to you right now about how has your experience shaped your relationship with your own body and your sexuality? From the idea of, many survivors talk about feeling disconnected from their bodies. What has your relationship with your body been like over time? Could you answer that for me? Could you share with us? And in this
Yeah,
conversation audio, we try to keep it very bold, unapologetically,
yeah.
to help others move it forward. Take it away and let me understand that from your perspective.
I feel like, um, especially growing up and not being in a nurturing environment, it starts from there as well. And I think, and then with the abuse, because like I said in the previous episode, that I was abused. I didn't say, I think I mentioned at the age of 8,
You did.
molested at the age of 3, and sexually abused at the age of 8. And so coming up, I recognized that I was shapely. So I could, growing up watching TV, my images or my body image consciousness came through magazines
Mm.
and TV. And I never ever felt that I measured up to anyone. So even though I had a shapely body, but what happened in my, what's growing up, I became more of a tomboy.
So
So I
can I
kind of,
can I just expand on that for some people because I know you've been very modest.
yeah, sure,
You were curvy.
sure.
You were
Yeah, I
curvy.
was very curvy. I had a 22-inch waist and a 36-inch bust. I'm not, excuse me, I'm not metric. So
That's
I'm
okay.
on inches, but that was my body. Bam, bam.
So you
As a
had your
young girl.
regular, you had a natural BBL, yeah, growing up in various
Yeah,
places.
yeah, yeah. I had body, till children change it. But life, cream
Yes,
cakes.
yes.
But yeah. So I was aware that I had a nice body, but that was it from there because my mind was so lost. I didn't see anything of myself from the neck up.
Mm,
So everything
mm,
was happening. My body was great. And I think that's because I kind of, with the abuse.
mm. So you
So I
actually
feel like,
detached from your neck down.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I did. I did. I
Wow.
really did. And that was a real experience. And that lasted, in all honesty, for
Hmm.
about 40 years.
It's crazy you say that because I was talking to a survivor since I came to London. And and I'm gonna be very honest. And she shared with me that for a very long time, after her abuse, she would never ever look at her vagina. She would not look at it. She didn't want to see it. It was this dirty thing. It caused her this pain. And she literally did not want to look at it. She actually became promiscuous. She
Mm.
said she saw it. She would see a man, she'd go after him. It was like she was punishing them. And she said she just detached from it and she felt like she was not using them because apparently studies have shown you can go one out of two ways. You
Yeah,
can either
that's
become
right.
very promiscuous or
Yeah,
very cautious about sexual encounters.
yeah,
But she said for a very long time, she was afraid to look at her vagina because it was a dirty thing.
wow.
And she said it was not until in one of these encounters she got pregnant.
Mm.
And she
Mm.
had to now go to these prenatal classes.
Mm.
And the nurse or whoever was going down there to look, and she clammed up
Mm.
because
Mm.
now she's left with herself because where you go, there you are.
Yeah, that's
And she
right.
said the nurse found it rather shocking. Like, what's wrong? And she broke down crying. How am I going to bring this child into the world? She said she had fear that this child's going to come into the world and experience this, but also somebody's looking at that thing that she never dare looked at.
Yeah.
And so she said for a long time, she detached herself from
Mm.
her vajiji.
Mm. I,
And
I've always thought that genital areas, vaginas, penises, especially thinking about penises, I was like, ooh, let's see, ooh. And so I had this ooh about my own body. So they're like,
mm,
ooh, especially down there, and so it was a part of myself that I didn't
want
acknowledge.
to associate with.
Yeah, I didn't
Right.
acknowledge that part of my body at all.
Yeah. It's crazy because as I think about the conversation, it leads me to the book that we're working on about Free the Vagina and how the
Yeah,
affirmations that we need to tell it and how we need to
yeah,
heal it and heal her. I
yeah,
can't wait for us to finish that book and put it out.
yeah.
Audrey,
I'm really looking to it too.
you're doing what? Sorry?
I'm looking forward to that book as well.
We're working on it. I think for me, trauma affects our bodies in so many ways. It affected how I saw my body and it has really changed how I see a lot of things. It took me until I was way into my adulthood to start appreciating my natural BBL. I have a natural BBL. I went to parents even yesterday, and somebody who I went with said to me, I took off my coat because it was really hot. And she said, girl, come here. I had a skirt on. She's like, girl, your BBL is popping. I was like, no, I haven't got a BBL. And she know I doesn't have one. I don't have one. And it was a bit embarrassing because there were parents in the hall who were looking at my BBL, natural BBL.
Think.
But for a long time, I hated that because I grew up feeling that
Mm,
it was that which attracted my abuse.
mm,
It was my fault. So I did not like my body because my body and how it was shaped was what had attracted my abuse. And I think
right.
there's so many people who go through that. Audra, what did reclaiming your body mean for you, and when did that happen? And if that feels like the right word, reclaiming your body. What did reclaiming? You
Mm.
might use another word. Your body mean for you, and how did that feel when you reclaim it? And when did that happen? Because I know mine happened in my way 20s.
I I ended up even reclaiming within my marriage.
Wow.
So before I was still in a marriage broken and
Mhm.
traumatized, and my husband had to deal with all of that. To be honest with you, while she was speaking, I was actually thinking, I remember actually having a smear test, or they call it pap
Yeah,
smear test.
yeah. Hmm.
And even doing that felt a violation
Yes. But
to
can
my
I say
body.
this? Can I say this to you? And I'm going to be honest, even sometimes in your own intimate relationships with your
Mm.
partner, if it's not, sometimes people want to do this quick thing or whatever it is, or you're not in the mood or whatever, it can feel like a violation with your own partner
Yeah,
because it
listen,
kind of
I
feel
still
like
have that now.
it wasn't consensual in the moment. It doesn't mean that you don't normally consent to your partner, but
Yeah,
there are some
yeah.
times when you're saying no and you
It's what's
really
happening
mean
in here.
no, and they think that they own your body, they own
Yeah,
you, so you were supposed
yeah.
to give it up when they want it. And in that moment, you don't want to. And so, when your loved one who you love and care for ordinarily does that forcibly, it feels like a violation. And here's the part, OJ and I
Yeah.
spoke about this the other day. Because your body responds to their touch because you're used to them, and
Yeah.
sometimes even just surrender, they take that as
Mhm.
consent.
Yeah.
Finish.
Totally
It's not
correct.
consent sometimes. It's just that you all, for
You know
me,
my buttons. You know my buttons. You've been with me a long time. You know what buttons, and sometimes you can be consenting 90%, but there's that 10%. And I've had over the years that 10% that screamed within my head
yes.
and made me freeze. And it's simply because that's still part of the trauma. And you have to have a partner who really can detect if your body goes rigid, if you are not relaxed and being the way you would normally
But
be,
Audra,
to even just say, are you okay?
most men,
They don't
forgive
see
me
that,
if I'm
Alan.
wrong, they just want to do this. They just want to
Yeah,
have that explosion. So a lot of them
yeah.
are not, they're not in sync and rhythm and listening to your body. Because I find that I can't speak for a lot of men, that's not fair. But I've had lots of conversation with lots of women who complain that men are selfish, or most men are selfish, or some men are selfish. And when they're in that climatic zone and that tantric zone, they cannot think
Mhm.
beyond them having that release. And so you could be there literally convulsion, if that's for lack of a better word. But they
Yeah,
don't get that
yeah.
because they are not thinking about you. And I find that kind of love as selfish.
This is why for me, I had to start looking at the act of sex sacredly,
Yes.
from a sacred space, from a sacred mind space.
Mm,
And so the things that I do concerning my mind and my body has been very different over the past
wow.
several years now.
Talk to us
And
about that.
and a lot of it has to do with sometimes you can't prepare in every instance,
Yes.
but you can keep your space prepared.
Yes. Your mental space.
Yeah, your mental and your physical space. For me, for example, I'm very into gemstones.
Yes.
I'm very into incense,
I'm into
natural
candles.
things like that. Yeah, candles, things like that.
Candles.
Sometimes how you create your environment creates
Mm,
your safe space.
yes.
you know. And for me, I love rose quartz. Now, whether anyone thinks that they work or they don't work,
Doesn't matter.
just the
You
fact of
think.
knowing that my rose quartz is there, which is a signal of the heart chakra of love.
Mm,
If I put it somewhere where I know it's on my bedside cabinet, or even I wear that as jewelry at
mhm,
times, just to remind me of that, just to put myself in that frequency. So
mm,
sometimes it's about your environment as well. And so those are for example, I have a particular perfume I like to wear and it calms my mind.
mm,
And so sometimes if you got something special and particular, it puts you in that bubble,
mhm,
puts you in that space so that you can actually relax. Meditation does it for me,
mm.
relaxation music does it for me, so that's what puts me in a calmer space. But that's because I've become aware of where my mind can go unnecessarily,
Wow.
or it's a shout for healing. That
Wow.
place needs healing, so it may be a shout for that you need to give it some kind of attention.
Wow, that's crazy. That's interesting because it leads me to a question that I wanted to ask, and is that I believe that some women who and men who've gone through trauma, people who've gone through trauma, sometimes you can sense when a partner comes your way that triggers your trauma, and it may not happen because it may not happen the way you expect it to. You could be allergic to them. They trigger trauma in
Mm,
you. You could end up being
mm-hmm,
allergic to that person, whether
yeah,
intimately or even just
Yeah.
them being around you. Sometimes their perfume, their sweat, their odor trigger some
Yeah.
things in you. And sometimes your
Yeah.
body is warning you to stay
Hmm.
clear. Can
Yeah.
you talk about that, Audrey, or is that abnormal? Does it
Yeah.
happen?
I've had that in the past. I've had that in the past where there were various different spiritual and
Mm,
physical warnings. You
wow.
know, they were there, but I was choosing because I wanted to be in this particular one relationship. I was choosing to ignore the signs. One, I was actually physically allergic to this person
I've
sexually,
had that experience, so I understand it very
right?
well.
So
Yes.
I was allergic, and I didn't know that till years later because I
Mm,
love science. And so through studying and reading and learning and gaining various types of information, I actually was like, oh, I
wow.
was allergic physically, what was happening to my body,
Mm,
right? To the person, but also um, mentally, energetically as well. And that person, being with that person, made me see myself in a negative way
wow.
as well. They set the trauma that I already had, they
Emotion.
expounded it
Yes.
because I never felt good enough around that person either. So there were all these signs, everything. And
Wow.
I know every time I was around this person, I would internalize.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that better than you know. I've had somebody who I actually dated and I was allergic to him. I was,
Mhm,
my body was just keeping score. My body was warning me, and I would break out
mhm,
into rash. And no matter how much doctors I went to, they would not go away. And I couldn't understand it. And it was really crazy because it only happened when they came around me. And just their
mhm.
shouting and their loud voices and their anxiety was just, "Ugh."
And
And
the
then
energy, yeah,
and the energy. But then it was warning signs because that person turned out to have been such a liar, and that person was everything about the person was a lie. And it's like God was telling me, if I beware. And I'm glad
yeah.
I listened to the signs. I really had to listen to the signs. The first time I had the allergic reaction, I was like, I was finding every reason. I went to the doctor, I went to this, I went to pharmacy, I went this, I went that. They gave me everything in the book. And then I went to a girl, and then my friends would talk to me, and they're like, Ava. And somebody said to me, actually, Ava, are you sure you're not allergic to this person? And I was like,
Okay.
I've never heard of that before. Allergic? No. And the person's like, trust me, go and research it. And I researched it, yeah. And then I think the next week I saw the person, and I literally had the trigger again. And so I went to see a friend of mine, literally, and I was telling her she's medical. And she's like, and I bought everything in the book. You name it, I bought them and they weren't working. And I made an internal decision that I'm gonna stop seeing this person. Like this
Mm,
person's bad for me. Like I'm like, no. I even said, oh, I'm gonna try and see I'm gonna start seeing an ex person of mine, one of my ex partner, just to see if, I have this reaction because it didn't make sense. And then I felt when I decided I was gonna stop talking to the person, I had this calm and this.
mm,
And then my friend said to me,
mm,
because I was breaking out into rash, and she's like, and she gave me pseudocreme. You know pseudocreme,
yeah.
expired pseudocreme. It expired. And from I decided I would not as a person again. Use the seed pseudocreme on my skin where I broke out, like rub my skin. I was at peace. And I was like, wow, I was actually allergic to that person. That person
I,
triggered
I
my
get, I get,
anxiety,
yeah,
triggered my
yeah,
trauma, and
yeah.
and I just thought, and I remember somebody asking me, can you imagine having to be with that person as a husband? And that stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, no, I can't do that. So I understand that. I think, Audrea, it's been such a meaningful conversation that I want to ask you, were there moments where your body felt like it was at safety? Like, I know that you said you're always evolving and developing, but have you ever felt like my body's safe? I'm safe.
You know, fabulous question. And in recent times, these are the things that I have had to, your life is like on screen. And for me, I've had to rerun some of the stuff that was shown. And when I rerun them, I've had to revisit them in a different way so that
Hmm.
it creates a new mindset.
Yeah, reframing,
And
yeah.
yeah, a new mindset. And what I've found in doing part of that is that a lot of, because the damage was done, especially when I was a child,
Mm,
that the inner child was damaged. And
wow.
I never ever went back within and healed that inner child. Now, last year, um, year before, now I need to say, when we did the book together, um, my hair journey book,
Hmm.
and I had to go. You see, writing that book caused me to go within and recognize that the inner child was still in there, damaged. And
Mm,
so, in a lot of what I've been doing, it wasn't just about the hair journey, but it was actually about the abuse and a lot of other things. I've had to revisit this inner child to let her know that she is safe,
wow.
that I am the voice, and that I will protect her, and
Wow.
that I will stand up for her. So, when you're saying, you've asked the question, um, have I felt sick? I have in recent times, but
Mm,
these have been through processes, things
mm,
that people may think, oh, she's strange. But, like I said, I'm becoming a particular age now this year.
yes.
I'm not going to say. And I've given myself my personal license to be authentically me.
Yes.
And so what I did, I would take gemstones and put between my legs
Hmm.
and do meditation and visualize healing in that space
Wow. It's
and
crazy you're
healing of my
talking
inner
about.
child.
Crazy saying that, Audra, because one of the things that I want to talk to you about, not in this session, is the womb. We have to address the womb, and we're going to go to the womb
Yes.
one of these series.
Yeah.
But continue. You put gemstones between your vajayjay and heal the inner child.
Yeah. Yeah. And have a dialogue, have a conversation
Mm,
with my womb, vaginal area in that sacred space.
mm-hmm,
Have a conversation. I literally had an internal conversation,
mm.
saying, you didn't do anything wrong.
Well,
Wasn't
affirmation
your
and talk,
fault.
conversations and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
affirmations.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Those kind of things. And I did it with, if anyone wants to know, you're going to have to ask me what gemstone I use. I'll tell you, but I won't say it now.
It's
You know what I mean?
crazy you
But
say
it was
that.
right there.
It's crazy you say that because I used to have a shop. Hello, everybody. And we used to sell yoni eggs. And for those who
Okay.
don't know
Yeah,
what yoni eggs are, they're gemstone eggs, right?
yeah.
And you'd insert them. But
Great item.
one of the properties and functions is the
A
healing.
wonderful item.
It's a wonderful it's good for vaginal tightening for those who don't know. We still
Yeah.
have some for sale. If you want to get them, let me know. I can always hook you up. If you're in Jamaica and want some, let me know. And we deliver by Knutsford. I'm just in a plug there. But we actually it actually gives you tightening of the vagina, but it also heals.
Yeah. It's
And
good for the whole of your body.
are those not are those gemstones as well? No? Are they?
Yes, they are. And
Okay.
it happens to be rose quartz.
Yes, they're
The
rose quartz.
best ones apparently are rose quartz as well.
Yeah.
So, for love, to
Yeah.
send love into that particular area.
Ooh. And you know what?
Light
That
and
era needs love because
powerful.
sometimes it is so abused by even ourselves. It's
Yeah,
abused and we don't love on it.
yeah.
And this is why I love the book that we're writing about freeing the vagina because in that book,
Mm,
myself, you and Mama Ajua talk about give women a lot of tips on how to love and reclaim. I think for me, as we wind down this particular series, what helped me to begin listening to my body rather than fearing it was, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm actually in therapy, and I'm in therapy for so many things, like a plethora of things. I've gone through so many traumas, so many situations. I've had so many issues in my tissues. And as I come out of one thing, I go into another, I'm in the middle of another. And unfortunately, at this stage of my life, I want to deal with them. And part of them is really dealing with my particular problem. So I am dealing with my issues. And part of that comes up as my sexual trauma because I thought I had pushed it to the side. And then I met somebody who triggered me by by when I'm around them, I break out into rashes. And so while I'm going through therapy, I'm reframing how I see myself. My confidence in my body is better now than it used to be, but I start to self love better. And like you, right at the womb center, right at the vaginal space, right at looking at my body and accepting and appreciating it, but recognizing that actually intimacy cannot be maximized properly and enjoyed if we are not healed from the sexual trauma we've been through. I see you as a wise, and not in a bad way, a wise, I want to get the right word, like a wise wisdom um, godmother. And at the seat of the soul of all of this, you come to the table with so much. And I know that many women and men and girls are going to watch this years to come, months to come, weeks to come. And I know some of you may not be able to come out loudly and just say it. But please know that Audrey offers a lot of different strategies and support. It's the right word to use at this stage. And so if anything she said or anything we've said here has touched you, please do reach out. We'll be more than happy to guide you. Audrey, any last words around, how should we best see our bodies so that we don't have to carry this trauma around and then we're going to wind down?
Wow, nice question. I'm a firm believer, even though I don't do it enough myself, physician heal thyself, all those words. But silence has the greatest power because in the silence you hear your inner voice.
Mm,
And our inner voices, especially us, feminine energy, not not excluding the brothers, but I'm a feminine energy. So I'm speaking in that space. And we have a lot of chatter outside. And so we're never listening to that inner voice that's crying out for attention. And, the greatest gift you can give yourself, one of the greatest gifts, I should say, because there are several, but one of them is to find space to be silent in, to listen to what's really happening in your body. What is your body saying to you? Because, sometimes we silence the sounds, the screams, and we put makeup on and business suits and we go into power meetings or we stand on stage or something with the screams and shouts still happening deep within. So if we can get some silence to hear ourselves, then we know where we need to start the work. And the thing that hurts you the most, the thing that's hurting you within, is the thing that you want is calling for your attention, is calling for healing.
thank you, Audrey. I'm going to pause because time is running out for us in terms of us wrapping up this. But can we pause? And as you watch this, can you pause for 30 seconds in silence, starting now? Thank you all for watching. I really hope that you go and step away and ask yourself what that did for you. As we wrap this down, I'm just so grateful that you came. We keep it raw, we keep it real, we keep it unfiltered. Don't get distracted by that. Sit down, listen to this twice, take notes, write your affirmation, write what comes up for you, keep a journal, talk to a sister, talk to a brother, talk to a friend, talk to your partners even, and really try to find the resolution within. Because love is beautiful, but if we carry all this trauma around, we will never enjoy it to the fullest. And what's the point in making love if you're not enjoying it? Until next time, it's Sister Hold Your Hand. I'm your host, and with my co host is Audrey Joseph. I'm really glad you came. Comment, like, share. Tell us the topics you want to talk about. And if ever you have anybody who you know who is suitable for this podcast that wants to be a sister to hold their hand, to be real and raw, Audrey, tell them to come and join us. And thank you as always. I look forward to the next episode with you.
Sending you love, light, and upliftment. May the word heal you.
Thank you so much, guys. Until next time, it's your host, Ava Brown.